Hello everyone, my name is Gabby, and I bet you're wondering, wait, what's going on? Where's my face? I thought I'm supposed to show my face, but now this time I just decided not to use a face cam. I'm just thinking about doing a just audio recording for this, and I'm just wondering if this is gonna work. Let's hope it works. If people like this, you just tell me. Anyway, so my topic for this video thing, I'm just gonna talk a bit about Gohan and Dragon Ball Super, because everyone, it feels like everyone has been going on about how Gohan is just, to put it less eloquently, Gohan is just a bitch now and he's just this worst character and blah 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 and he's not doing anything and he's the new Yamcha and everything. And I guess the problem is I'm just a little too optimistic. Maybe it's just since I really like Gohan and he is still my favorite character. Yes, even now. So maybe I don't want to believe that he's not going to be relevant, but I still think that I feel like they're actually building something up to him, and that Gohan might actually be relevant in some of the new material. So let me just explain. So basically, I was sort of with everyone else, and I was thinking that, maybe they've completely left Gohan by the wayside, and maybe he's not going to do anything important, ever again. But then, when I watched Dragon Ball Super's version of the Resurrection F arc, I'm having some mixed feelings about it. Some strange just thoughts and strange things that it seems like there's almost foreshadowing. That and the recent Dragon Ball Super manga chapter. So basically, the interesting thing about the Resurrection F arc of Dragon Ball Super is that there were a lot of deviations. And a lot of those deviations, really, I'm just trying to think about this, really logically. And I'm just sort of thinking, why did they put deviations in? I mean, you could say it was to keep people guessing from week to week so they could continue to watch on to the Resurrection F arc, but the deviations have pretty much completely stopped as of this episode, that is episode 25, and also there's the fact that Battle of Gods barely had any deviations at all, so that was not a selling point when Dragon Ball Super actually started. So I'm just thinking, if they're going to change things so drastically, they must have changed it for a reason. And then we go back to Gohan. See, one of the biggest differences between Resurrection F and the movie version and the arc version is, I was really thinking about it, and the arc has a lot of Gohan in it. He's a pretty central character throughout all of that sort of Frieza's Army segment of the Resurrection F arc. He's got a lot of character focus, and he's almost got character development, in that the difference between him in the arc and him in the movie is in the arc, he's sort of guilty that he's not trading and guilty that he's gotten weaker, whereas in the movie they don't either they don't have time or they can't be bothered to explain that, yeah, Gohan isn't exactly satisfied with, just getting weaker and not being able to help everyone. So that was one major thing. And it made me think, okay, alright, cool. At least Gohan is acknowledging it. At least he's not some kind of idiot who's just oh, yeah, no, I'll be weak. I'll be not strong enough to protect everyone. Sure, I'm perfectly fine with that. And the second major deviation in the Resurrection F arc was Piccolo's death. And once again, I'm thinking, why did they do that? Why did they kill off Piccolo? They're just going to use the Dragon Balls to wish him back, so there must have been a reason. And I guess there was one reason, and that was to get Gohan, sufficiently pissed off enough to signal Goku, but I'll explain that later. But what I was thinking when I saw Piccolo's death, it made me think, and especially when Gohan was sort of looking at his dead body and sort of feeling guilty again, it just made me think, if that's not a motivation for Gohan to start training again, I don't know what is. So basically, if they're ever going to do a thing where Gohan says, oh, now I'm sick of being weak, so I'm going to start training again and I'm going to be really strong or whatever, having Piccolo die in front of him to rescue him because he was too weak is pretty much the, best way you could have started it. And back to his actions in Super, a lot of people were kind of pissed off because they were expecting Gohan to get some kind of major rage boost and, maybe he would attack Golden Frieza and get some good hits in, which I understand why people did that, but if you really stop and think about it, what Gohan did in the Resurrection F arc, just detaching it from the movie, is pretty awesome. In that, he sort of got his ki high enough to stick for Goku to sense it, and so he could manage to teleport onto the battlefield. Now, that is something that was not such a big deal in Resurrection F, but it's a really lot bigger deal in Dragon Ball Super, because if you remember some of the earlier episodes, Goku couldn't sense like Vegeta or Beerus or Whis or any way. He couldn't sense them to just teleport to their planet. He needed Whis to come back for him to actually get to the planet in the first place. So that made me think, maybe this is just like really wishful thinking in my whatever internal logic, but if Goku couldn't, even like Vegeta and Beerus and Whis' ki wasn't something that was big enough for Goku to latch onto to teleport, but he could latch on to Gohan's ki, made me start thinking that maybe Gohan is supposed to be a lot more powerful in that moment than what everyone is expecting. I mean, obviously, when you look at the Resurrection F movie, that's not really a problem. Like, it's pretty much mostly just the humans and everything, but that's what made me think, and I thought that was interesting. Because if you use Super's previous logic, then technically, yeah, Gohan did get a rage boost. And technically it was probably one of the largest rage boosts we've ever seen him have. So that's something that I think is kind of overlooked. So Gohan was feeling guilty, then Piccolo died, then Gohan got a rage boost, and Gohan was also feeling guilty for Piccolo's death. So yeah, if that is pretty much the perfect setup for having him decide, I'm gonna get stronger now, I'm going to train, I'm gonna go and fight because I have to, because look, if I'm not, something like this is gonna happen. Piccolo is gonna die, someone is going to die because I'm not there, or Goku and Vegeta aren't there, or Goku and Vegeta aren't there and I'm not strong enough. And then I started thinking about the new Chapter 7 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, wherein out of everyone, even really useless characters like Oolong and Puar and whatever, Gohan is the only one who isn't a spectator, or even isn't at the Universe 6 tournament. And that just baffled me, because if everyone is saying that Gohan is just so irrelevant that he's not even important anymore, then they would have just made him a spectator. They would have put him on the sidelines along with everyone else who had gone onto the sidelines, just to prove to everyone that he's not important. But the way they personally singled him out as the only person to not be there at the tournament made me feel like there has to be a reason. I mean, they spend 2 panels explaining Gohan isn't there, and you're not gonna put that in there unless there was legitimate reason. I know Videl said that he was at a business trip, and that sounds really kind of stupid, but I don't know. When I heard that, I was just sort of thinking, that sounds like an excuse, like a lame excuse that's just purposely there to keep our minds off, to sort of forget about him and just assume he's not doing anything, so that if he does show up, it'll actually surprise us. Because I mean, come on, what has surprised us in Dragon Ball Super so far? Not really much, but that's also because there's movie retellings, but still. For some reason, I was kind of reminded of The Incredibles, where Bob tells his wife that he's off going on business trips, but then he's actually secretly doing superhero work. Maybe Gohan is telling everyone that because he was training and he doesn't want anyone to know. I can't think of a reason as to why he'd keep it a secret, other than just so it would be really cool for the audience. Of course, I could be completely proven wrong with all of this, but I really hope I'm not. I'm just trying to be hopeful. And I mean, yeah, Gohan's my favorite character. And while I'm not one of those people who was just sort of oh man, I totally want Gohan to start training and be totally strong again. At the same time, if that opportunity does occur, I would be very satisfied with that. So that's why I'm just really hoping. I'm hoping that this theory ends up having at least some kind of truth to it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Gohan is still a very popular character. Obviously not as popular as he used to be during, say, the Cell Saga, but, I mean, he still has fans. I don't know if they'd really just completely remove him altogether. He could, but they wouldn't purposely, make him look this weak, this so many times, unless there was a legitimate reason. Because basically there's just 2 options. Either they really hate him, or they're trying to build him up again. And somehow I don't feel like the first of those 2 options is very likely. Because, I mean, everyone likes their characters, right? It's just a bit unusual. So hopefully this will be true, and if it's not true, well, you've got this video to go around and mock me in the comments as many times as you want for being absolutely wrong and getting my hopes up. But hopefully I did not get my hopes up. I hope. And I used the word hope quite a few times there. Anyway, that was pretty much all I was going to say. So this is Gabby, signing out, and goodbye, guys.